Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. It is Hugo Quintanilla here with your daily live. I'm just here fixing our good old fashioned sign, and I hope that you're all having a great snow day. Um, it is yet another live. So I appreciate all of you for tuning in. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Instagram. As I just told the Instagram crew, that they will have priority when it comes to the chat. They've been the most engaged group, and any questions, comments, concerns that they might have will be brought into the live. So please, if you would like a question answered or a chat answered live, go ahead and follow on Instagram at Hugo for Long and Foster. My phone number is 240-389-4846. My email is hugo@lnf.com. And my website is yourrealtorhugo.com. So today we are going to be doing day 15 of your ultimate 30-day home selling blueprint. And oh man, it's a cold one. So, this is a big reason why we always say that selling a property in the winter months is a make or break decision. Most people that need to move and are buying have to move. And most people that need to sell in the wintertime sell because they have to sell. It's not really an option, it is more a necessity, and it needs to be acknowledged as a time when really decision making needs to be at the forefront and execution needs to be on the forefront. Sometimes there's storms and sometimes they're inclement weather conditions that can delay closings. So, stuff like this happens all the time. Preparing for it, being ahead of the curve, ahead of these obstacles is the best thing that you can do as a defense to sell your property and have the transaction continue on a smooth path. So work with your realtor in taking care of those things and making sure that you are doing your due diligence when it comes time to the closing process. But today on day 15, we're actually going to be talking about a little bit more of a boots on the ground subject. Today, smooth move ahead. Navigating the world of local moving companies to secure your stress-free transition. Today, we're going to be talking about moving companies, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have any questions or comments about moving companies, please feel free and leave them below. If you have any good moving companies that you know of, please feel free and leave them down below as well. I can tell you a couple, just off the top of my head. JK Moving, very good. Town and Country Movers, very good. I'm sure I can think of a couple more, push come to shove. But yeah, there are tons of moving companies. Please look at reviews. Use the secured and bonded, insured and bonded companies, and are reputable. Look for referrals and look for recommendations from your realtor. And we'll dive a little bit more into it today with 10 suggestions that you could execute on day 15. And we are getting there. We are getting closer and closer and closer to that little surprise that I told you guys about come the 20th of this guide. So we're 5 days away and we're already consulting with moving companies. So we are in great pace to get this place listed and sold ASAP. So, number one, create a list of moving companies. Research and compile a list of local moving companies in your area. That's pretty simple. It's just something that you got to do a quick Google search on. Angie's List. There's another great site that's just slipping my mind right now. I just heard about it from a um, house cleaner that I am using, and she suggested it to me, and it was really, really nice site. Of course, you could do Nextdoor and a few other things like that to ask for recommendations. But again, develop a list of moving companies that you would like to do further research on, so you're not wasting your time. Check online reviews. Read online reviews on platforms like Yelp or Google to gauge the reputation of each of these moving companies. I would also suggest to look at the Better Business Bureau and the BBB site to see what the reviews have been in the past for these companies. Because if there's a major complaint there, then it will be there. Now, of course, you always have to take everything with a grain of salt and look at it in the eyes of both the client and the company. But nine times out of 10, a responsible moving company will have a responsible response to whatever the complaint was that the person might have had. So take it all with a grain of salt, but reviews matter. And looking at reviews can be a good indicator of what you're in store for. Ask for recommendations. Seek recommendations from friends, family, or realtors for reliable moving companies. We have a plethora of resources that we can use. Some of them are sponsored, some of them are not, and some of them come highly recommended, and some of them probably are new to the brokerage. It all varies. So, talk to your realtor about which ones they've used, which ones they personally have experience with, and which ones they can have maybe some testimonials from other realtors on, or maybe they've heard good things from other colleagues about. Because really, it's tough sometimes for realtors to try all these companies because we don't really want to put you in a position where we make a mistake and recommend somebody or something that is not going to prove their worth. So we really, more than anything else, want to keep using trusted vendors that we know will follow through. And that can be difficult to establish those relationships. It's taken me about 5 years to establish a pretty good team of people, but I'm still always looking because you can never settle for the team that I can employ to help you get into the homes. And I have had to be more creative. I've had to be more versatile and more flexible than ever before to give you guys more options on how to buy and how to sell. Verify licensing and insurance. You can ask these questions. Ensure that the moving companies on your list are licensed and adequately insured with coverage that you need for what they're doing. You can ask that. You can ask that, and it's very easy question. And 9 times out of 10, most companies are, especially if they're advertising on any major scale. Now, when you're talking about like TaskRabbit, Nextdoor, all these, Facebook Marketplace sites where people, offer help, or Craigslist, if you are getting what you're paying for, let's be honest. So be careful, take your time, do your research if you're going to go with a professional, because like with anything else, you're going to pay a price for using a professional, but you should also get value from their services. Make sure that that's key. Contact moving companies. Research Reach out to each moving company to inquire about their services, availability, and pricing. Now, services, it makes sense. They move stuff, but how do they move stuff? What's their procedure? What is their criteria for a room? What's the square footage? What are big items? What are little items? Look at that. Look at what they offer and what you have to do before they come and pick up your belongings to transport to somewhere else. Also, look at their service, whether it's a full service, meaning that it is something that they take care of the packing as well as the transporting, or if it's a more traditional service where it's just a transportation from you pack up everything yourself and then they come and pick up everything and then transport it to point B. So it's an A to B service. It really just does depends, and they will disclose, and there will be contractual terms and conditions that you'll have to read that says what they're responsible for, when they're responsible for it, and how much they're responsible for. So make sure to read that before you commit to anything. Availability is another big thing. Not every moving company has availability all the time, and availability can vary depending on their staff, on holiday schedules, on inclement weather, on sickness and health. So really, availability varies from company to company, and sometimes there's huge weight of demand on these companies. So don't be surprised if during peak hours or peak seasons of moving, typically summertime, you're getting a premium price on these quotes because there are such hot demand for movers, and it's a very well paid profession, especially if it's done with a company that's trustworthy and has a lot of recurring business. These companies stay busy, so make sure to plan ahead, as far ahead as you can, so that you aren't left with a whole bunch of stuff left to move and no one to help you move it. Provide detailed information. Share specific details about your move, including the distance, size of your home, and any specific requirements. Do you have a handicap? Are there a lot of breakables? Are there a lot of items that are larger? You need to know the square footage of your home. You need to do some measuring. So, there are great applications on your phones. For example, I know iPhones have a measuring ruler that you can use on your camera app to measure in virtual reality any space in actual reality. And the great thing about that is that you don't really have to walk around with measuring tape, and you can take pictures and video of that. But the point is that you need to measure, and you need to take measurements of these things so that they can better accommodate your belongings. How many truckloads of movers are they going to need? How many people are they going to need? They have specific timelines that they would like to meet and deadlines that they would like to meet when it comes to when the move is going to happen. Like, they want to do this within 8 hours. They don't want the crew moving several days in a row, so they will throw as much as they can, as much manpower and truck power as they need to fulfill the transfer and the transportation for that time frame. So that's why availability can also be impacted. And make sure you're as specific as possible as you can. If you've already purchased the home, this is a lot easier. But if you're selling the home, you're probably going to have to wait till the point that you get the um, property under contract with the majority of your contingencies already out of the way. I would consult with your realtor really when the best time to commit to the movers could be, but the sooner that you know when you're going to move, the better. It's always better. Obtain written quotes. Request written quotes from each moving company, including a breakdown of costs and additional fees. Are they going to be charging you packing fees? Are they going to be charging you an extra fee for bringing more people, or an extra truck, or doing it in a certain amount of time, or at a certain time? Some moving companies have a specific time that they like to move, point blank, period, and some of them are a little bit more flexible. So inquire about that and get it all in writing. As we know, Maryland is notorious for writing first, and everything needs to be in writing. That's what we use here. So, make sure that you're getting written quotes on all of these things by email or by snail mail. Ask about additional services. Inquire about additional services offered, such as packing, unpacking, or storage options. This can really benefit someone if you're in transition. I would look at pods, also public storage. There's nothing wrong with taking your belongings out of your property and then putting them in public storage, or a storage facility until you're ready for the move. It will cost you, but we're talking about maybe a couple of months versus actually having to rush and buy a home just to put your belongings into. Yes, it's inconvenient because you will have to pay a double move, moving the stuff into the unit as well as moving the stuff out of the unit back into into the new home. But if this financially works out and you can strike a deal with the company, then this is again something that you can negotiate, as long as it's something that works for both the company and the client. So make sure you ask, because if you ask, you'll never know. But that could be something, an option to think about. And lastly, just ask them about what type of additional service they offer in regards to manpower and trucks. It might be in your best interest to have more manpower so that the project gets done quicker. But at the end of the day, you always have to look at your budget, and don't blow your budget on moving expenses, because there will be other things to spend on that are necessary. And moving, though necessary, you have to really pick and choose your battles when it comes to that. As always, belongings that matter, keep them close to you. Keep them in your essentials boxes. Keep them in the last things that you personally move. You will have to move your car if you have a car. You will have to move your own personal belongings and your emergency and essentials boxes. So make sure that those are the last things that you're moving. And if you don't feel comfortable with a moving company using or having those things or taking those things, then please, by all means, do not let the moving company move them. Wait until they moved everything else and instruct them not to touch those things, and then save them until that you can move them yourself. And you feel that you are prepared to move them yourself in your own vehicle, or by other means, because really it's not worth the stress, the aggravation, the hassle, the sadness, the disappointment, and everything that could happen for just haphazardly throwing all your things into someone's truck. Really take the time to think about the things that matter to you, and what would happen if you did lose these things or something happened to these things. um, God forbid anything happens to your belongings, but we always have to prepare for the worst and expect the best. All right. And lastly, ask for discounts. Actually, second to last, and that's number nine, asks for discounts or promotions. Ask about any discounts or promotions available, especially if you have flexibility in your moving date. That can really play a number on your quote. So ask them and see if they give you some flexibility in one of the days or in times, because it could matter. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, we have compare and evaluate. Compare the quotes, services, and reviews to make an informed decision on the best moving company for your needs. It really is that simple. You can take all the data that you've gotten, and I'm probably sure that if you get 10 companies, probably seven of them are going to be okay prices, and probably like about three of them are going to be like really well referred, and probably like about one of them is going to really give you a good feeling, because you'll hear them on the phone, and it matters a lot who's on the phone sometimes, but look at their reviews, look at their websites, and just ask, because you'll get a feel for their staff by who responds. So it never hurts. Do your due diligence, because these are your belongings and we don't want anything to happen to them. So make sure that you are taking your time with this step. It is very difficult sometimes to get personal help to help you move, and this can be a great option to move if you've ever felt like, oh my goodness, I can't move because I don't have these belongings, or anywhere to put these belongings. Yes, it can be expensive and pricey. That's why I'm more than anything um, mentioning this now, so that you can make sure to save and budget for this, because this could be one of those things that you have to save a little bit longer for before we start the process too, because moving is one of those costs that will always exist, just if you are unable to provide your own moving capabilities, renting your own truck and the such. So think about that. To recap, uh, create a list of moving companies, check online reviews, ask for recommendations, verify licensing and insurance, contact moving companies, provide detailed information, obtain written quotes, ask about additional services, check for discounts or promotions, and compare and evaluate all your options. Researching local moving companies and obtaining quotes will help you find a reliable and cost effective option for your upcoming move. So, it's really that simple, ladies and gentlemen. You really don't need a lot of time to do this. Like I said, it could be done in a day. Just get organized, do it step by step, and take the first step. I really do appreciate all of you for tuning in today. Thank you for doing that on Facebook, YouTube, and on Instagram. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free and leave them in the appropriate social media channels. My phone number is 240-389-4846. My email is hugo@lnf.com. My Instagram is hugo4, the number 4, Long and Foster. And my website is yourrealtorhugo.com. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And please, before you go to bed and finish your day today, take a moment and reflect on what MLK Day is really about and how, even today in this day and age, let's take it to a global perspective. At the global level, we are still dealing with inequality and injustice. So I hope and I wish that all of you, at least for a moment today, will take a second and reflect on Dr. King's message and dream. And if you have the ability to take a second and listen to the speech, it is beautiful. And it truly is awe inspiring when you get a chance to sit there and reflect on it and his words. So if you can, take a moment and reflect on how privileged and blessed we are to live in this beautiful country. And thank you for tuning in and letting me do what I do. I appreciate all of you. Have a great evening. Be safe out there. They're expecting about 4 to 6 inches between now and 10 a.m. tomorrow was the last thing that happened before I went live. So schools are closed. Enjoy the day off and have a great evening. Take care. Be safe out there tomorrow. Have fun. And I will catch you tomorrow for day 16 of the 30-day home selling blueprint. And just to give you a preview of that, do you want to know? Do you want to know? I don't think you want to know. You want to know. We're going to complete any necessary renovations and repairs. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Have a great evening. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.